Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. I mentioned on Monday that there must have been something about David that invited close friendships and loyalty, and today our story reflects just that. This week and next week we're looking at some stories of friendships in the Bible, and this week focusing on King David and 5 special friendships he had. Today we want to look at his friendship with Ittai the Gittite. On Tuesday I told you the story of David and Jonathan and how David had to become a fugitive from Jonathan's father, King Saul. But that wasn't the only time in his life that David was a fugitive. When David had become king, one of his sons, a young man named Absalom, grew dissatisfied with waiting for his turn to become king. He was a far cry from Prince Charles in our time, who has waited patiently for years. Absalom thought that his father had grown old, and that his father's time as king was over. It was time for a new king. It was time for Absalom to be king. And so Absalom led a rebellion. Now, the normal thing for a king to do in a situation like that was to quash the rebellion and kill the rebellion's leader. But the rebellion's leader was David's own son, whom he loved. And so instead of fighting back and defending his right to be king, David fled the palace and gave it up so that no harm would come to Absalom. He packed up his wives and few belongings and headed out, once again a fugitive. And that's when Ittai the Gittite appears. First, let me say that that's a great name, Ittai the Gittite. But there's more to Ittai than a catchy name. Ittai was one of King David's guards, and when David fled the palace, Ittai went with him. However, interestingly, Ittai wasn't a Jew. He was actually a Canaanite who had become one of David's generals and served David with distinction. Most interestingly, he was from Gath, the same city as Goliath. I think that says something about the friendships David forged. There are numerous barriers to the two of them being friends, and yet there was a close bond between them. This is how we know that. You see, when David saw that Ittai was going with them as he fled the palace, he told Ittai to go home. As we read in 2 Samuel chapter 15, "Then the king said to Ittai the Gittite, 'Why are you also coming with us? Go back and stay with the king, for you are a foreigner, and also an exile from your home. You came only yesterday, and shall I today make you wander about with us while I go wherever I can? Go back and take your kinsfolk with you, and may the Lord show steadfast love and faithfulness to you.' But Ittai answered the king, 'As the Lord lives, and as my lord the king lives, wherever my lord the king may be, whether for death or for life, there also your servant will be.' David said to Ittai, 'Go then, march on.' So Ittai the Gittite marched on with all his men and all the little ones who were with him." That kind of loyalty, the kind Ittai had for David, expresses a deep and lasting friendship. David didn't know what would happen, where they would go, how they would survive, or if they would be killed or return to the palace. Yet none of that mattered to Ittai. He was loyal to David and was committed to being with David no matter what. Many of you know that I'm a fan of dogs. I've been known to say that you never hear a story about a cat running into a fire to lead its owners to safety. But dogs seem to have that same kind of loyalty that I see in Ittai the Gittite, and it is lasting and deep. It's unconditional. True friendships founded in God are like that between Ittai and David. Barriers don't matter. Differences don't matter. The friendship is what counts. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.